Invincible, Mike Jack's last album. Technically, if you don't consider Escape as an album, so to speak, I mean, I do. It's his voice, it's his music, so I still consider it to be an album, and it's good in its own right. But technically speaking, Invincible was the last album Michael Jackson was alive to put out for himself. So most people will consider Invincible to be his weakest album in terms of quality. And I might have a polarizing opinion when I say this album is elite. I've never understood, well, I don't understand the reason why people say this is his weakest album. Honestly, I don't think people even consider this album when talking about Michael. You know, when you think of MJ, you think of, Thriller, Off the Wall, Bad. That's what you think of. You think of those albums. I mean, you might think Dangerous, you might, but most people don't think of Invincible. And I'm sure when people think of Invincible, they think of it as a lackluster flop of an album. And I think it's damn near unskippable. I listened to it. I listened to it recently, and for the first time, mind you, first time going through Invincible, listening to it, and I will say, like I said, I'm finding it hard to understand why people didn't fuck with this album. I'm gonna chalk it up to the fact that this album had little to pretty much no success and wasn't promoted properly, and his allegations at the time had reached its peak. So when this album released, Sony refused to do any sort of marketing for it. I'm not gonna say that this album is a 10 out of 10 masterpiece, but it's still a pretty damn good album. I was always told that this is MJ's worst album, so I stood clear of it. But after listening to Dangerous review coming pretty soon, by the way, I kind of wanted to see, because I really enjoyed his last album, Escape. Like I said, some people don't consider Escape to be an album, but I do. So considering that I really enjoyed Escape, my curiosity got the better of me, and I skipped Blood on the Dance Floor. And to my surprise, I had like 11 of the 16 tracks of this album on my playlist, and I was even more surprised when I learned this whole album doesn't have a bad song. It doesn't have a garbage song, and taking all that in, I'm left with this puzzling enigma of a question, and I'm just asking, why was this album hated on? I genuinely believe that it's got to do with the timing of this album and when it came out. And I believe that it's a great album, and Michael seemed to believe it himself, even going on the record to say that Invincible is just as good or better than Thriller, going on to say it had more to offer. I don't agree with that. Keep in mind, Thriller has 8 songs that keeps you entertained throughout the whole album, and 5 of the songs on it are considered some of the best songs he's had to offer. But nevertheless, I still think Invincible is a great album, and a criminally underrated album at that. From the opinions I can find on this album, they seem to be one or the other. There's a lot of people saying this is his worst album in terms of creativity, and it doesn't really stand the test of time like his first 3 albums, and it doesn't capture the feel that Thriller, Bad, and Off the Wall and Dangerous did. And I can believe that. I can agree with that to an extent. I can sit here and say that it really doesn't feel like a traditional Michael Jackson album. I'm not saying, to the people that, there's also some people saying that, this is his most underrated album, and it's one of his best. And, that's crazy, despite this album being very lengthy album with 16 songs. It doesn't have a bad song. Like I said, that's the biggest compliment you can give to any album. Like I said, I can listen to this album start to finish and be satisfied pretty much all the way through. I'm genuinely surprised how underrated this album is. But, you know, I've talked about it for long enough. Let's go ahead and get into the actual track reviews. This album has one of the best starting points ever. Unbreakable. Album kicks off with Michael Jackson and Biggie. One of my favorite rappers of all time. Biggie, one of the best flows ever. And Michael Jackson is one of my favorite artists of all time. You have the best of both worlds. One of the best rappers of all time. One of the best pop stars of all time. Getting on a track together. And it absolutely fucking smacks. It is a certified classic. This beat, the beat is heavy and in your face. And it just pretty much sets the tone for a lot of this album. Half the album, really. It's going to be a very bombastic and off-the-wall, pun intended, album. But the instrumental, like I said, is really loud and animated, but not in a bad way. Michael's got some nice singing, and the chorus is backed up with these background vocals, and it sounds so fucking good. It sounds really good. The transition between Michael Jackson's verse and Biggie's verse is so goddamn good. Biggie once again proved that he has a flow that is yet to be matched with that smooth ass fucking flow, smooth as fucking butter. And that's what makes this song such a banger. And that's the Biggie feature. And we don't stop with bangers there. No, we don't. We got another banger right after this, Heartbreaker. Another instrumental that's very much in your face. The flow at the beginning of the song is a little choppy, but it's intended to be that way, and it leads into this hook that's pretty well done. It's done really well. I really like it. Like I said, the flow of the actual verse might not be everybody's cup of tea, but it's nothing bad in my opinion. And it can be overlooked considering how good the chorus actually is. And his singing is good as well. There is rapping on this song as well, and it's fine. It doesn't really last long. It gets right back to the song. Like I said, this is a good song, and we're not done either. We got the album track, Invincible. The instrumental on this one is strange sounding, not like bad strange, but it's definitely odd. Definitely his best singing performance thus far on this album. The flow of the verse is good, and the hook flows very well with the actual verse of the song. And when the hook climaxes back down to the verse, it sounds really good. There's more rapping on this song. There's quite a bit of rapping on this album actually, which is very unique for a Michael review. But like I said, there's more rapping, and like I said, it's crazy. It's not Biggie, but it's not bad either. Like I said, so far no bad songs, and it doesn't change with Break of Dawn. Break of Dawn is a great song. The singing is wonderful on the song, from Michael's flow to this great fucking rhythm that he goes with. It's very reminiscent of something that would be off the wall, and where the instrumental is just light, and it hangs around in the background and just lets Michael's vocals go to work, and that's sometimes his best work. And another laid back song, and that's what it is. It's just a laid back song, and that's what Heaven Can Wait is as well. Yet another song that isn't bad. We haven't found a bad one yet. The flow of this one is the best so far on the album. And, it has a great chorus. Just everything complements each other so nicely on the song, from the vocals to the instrumentals, the background instrumentals. The song comes off very hard, and it's close to knocking off Unbreakable, but I wouldn't say it's quite there yet. But right now, the best song on the album is You Rock My World. You Rock My World fucking slaps. Not only does it sound like classic MJ, but it's got that off-the-wall Thriller vibe, and I love it. I will say, the flow never reaches a level of, heat on this album again. You Rock My World is one of his best flows ever. The instrumental is just fucking groovy. When the beat comes on, you just can't help but get up and start moving. It's damn near hypnotic, of course. Of course, the singing is good. It's Michael Jackson. What else are you gonna expect? This is the best song on the whole album, and it's not even really close. Honestly, like I said, Unbreakable, Great song, but this is just peak. I will go ahead and say and tell you that it doesn't reach this level of heat again. Not on the album. Not on the album. Literally right after this song, another banger drops with Butterflies. Another song with a flow that is just so smooth. The instrumental again is laid back and chill. The flow of the verse is just so goddamn catchy on this one. He immediately at the beginning of the song starts flexing the vocals, and the chorus is fine. The chorus is fine. It's nothing special. It's just the flow of the actual song that is fire. Speechless. This song starts with no instrumental whatsoever. It's just Michael Jackson singing, and it showcases that his vocal performance never got worse. He keeps singing until the beat finally kicks in, and it's just another relaxing song. It's good. It's good. Like the next song, 2,000 Watts, which is another certified fucking banger. First off, him hitting them low notes on this song is fucking crazy. I love the way the song flows. It has an electrifying feel. Another pun intended. It's great. It's a great song. It's a great song. It almost makes the best song of the album, but it's not quite on the level of Rock My World. The chorus is great as well. The instrumental is powerful, and as I said, this song is just a fucking banger. Moving on to another banger, You Are My Life, might be his best performance in terms of singing on this whole album. It keeps a nice pace. And it never really loses its flow. The way he transitions from verse and chorus is great. And then when you have, a nice change of pace with from this soft-spoken, slow song to this song with a little bit more raw emotion, Privacy. Another fucking banger. Like, good God, this album has a lot of bangers. That's why I'm saying, that's why I don't understand this album being considered bad. For one, he sounds like he just fucking fed up on this song. He's just letting you know. And he doesn't sound desperate and cringy like a certain artist does when he tries to convey this kind of song. Marshall. And it doesn't come off as, him being soft. It just seems like he's singing his fucking heart out and letting you know how he feels. All while conveying this very catchy song with that aggressive voice on the chorus, and the instrumental is good as well. The song blends together very well. Don't Walk Away goes right back to his laid back vibe, although I would consider I would consider that this is the first step of the album that is kind of below average. The album, because it's nature. The nature of the song, it has a very country-esque beat, and I'm not a fan of it at all. That being said, he still provides, a great, vocal performance. I ain't never heard a bad vocal performance from MJ. It's just the rest of the song, the energy of it. I'm not a fan of it. Moving on to Cry. This time with another laid back song. Nice little instrumental. A better pace of the flow than the last song. It's a good song, and there's not much I can say about it other than it being essentially an upgrade of the last song. Another song with that same kind of slow vibe, The Lost Child, is another nice vocal performance from Michael. But I wouldn't say it's a bop. It's not bad. It's just not up to the standard of the last couple of songs that came before this one. Obviously, excluding the one we talked about before, Cry. But like I said, it's not a bad song. Like I said, it's not it. It's not the best song on the album. Whatever Happens is yet another song with slow paced vocals and soft instrumental. That being said, the flow of the song works in its favor a lot more than the last two, and it's good. It just doesn't hit like that 11 stretch of songs. But I wouldn't call it a skip. I even added it to my playlist. It's a good song. It's a very good song. Capping off this lengthy ass album with the song Threatened. It reveals this rambunctious side of MJ that he said tendencies to show throughout the duration of this album, and it's by far I will say this, it is by far the weakest song in this album easily. You're like, it's not even close. I'm just really not a fan of the song at all. The vocal performance is fine. It's just the other shit that you add onto it, like the flow, the instrumental, the chorus. It's just not all that good, you know. It's the only song on the album I would say is genuinely a skip. I would call it a skip. All in all, my opinion of this album, I believe that this is one of the most underrated albums of all time. There are 11 songs that are certified bangers. I think there is about 3 songs in this album that I would say is just fine, and I would say there's probably about two or 1 that's a skip. Definitely threatened, but I still think it's a great album. So when I hear people say that this is MJ's weakest album, I guess I can agree with that to a certain extent. I haven't heard Blood on the Dance Floor yet, and I will listen to that at some point. But given the length of this album at 16 tracks and there only being 3 subpar songs, that is an accomplishment. And honestly, I think he did a very good job of balancing between very hype, pop-esque songs and very soft-spoken songs, you know? And that's when Michael is at his best, when he's able to balance his rhythm. So, well, I can agree that maybe this is his weakest album, but I don't think it's a bad album. I think, as a matter of fact, I think it's a really great album. Honestly, I think I would give this album a solid 8 out of 10. I was pleasantly surprised with the sheer quality of this album upon first listen, because I heard a lot of people say that this was a bad album. This was one of those albums that when an album I've heard a lot of people say that this is one of those albums when an artist makes, you know, it's time for, you hear it and you know it's time for them to hang it up. And I don't get that vibe at all from MJ. As a matter of fact, I'd go so far to say that Invincible is better than Dangerous. Yeah, I will say that. So I don't understand the hate for this album. Maybe it's because of all the controversy during the time for, I don't know. But like I said, 8.5 out of 10 for this album, and this is one of my most lengthy fucking reviews. Jesus Christ. But great album, and I look forward to making different content next. I've been doing nothing but commentary type videos because I can't really just haven't really been able to put together other content here recently. But it'll happen when it happens. You know, that's how it works.